You're listening to Gotham Talk Radio's In Your Face Politics, hosted by New York Politicos Brad Gersman and David Schwartz.
And we have a great guest. Brad, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very exciting. We have Wayne Wink. He's currently a Nassau County legislator. He's also our business partner at our law firm, Gersman, Schwartz, and Wink. But the most exciting part about it is that Wayne announced that he's running countywide for county controller. And that is very, very exciting. It's new news. It's timely day because only last night was the announcement.
Who's running at the top of the ticket?
Today, we have him with us.
Who's running at the top of the ticket?
Well, you got the county executive race, which is
who's running in that?
Which is Tom Swazi. Everyone remembers Tom Swazi.
Swazi's back.
Swazi's back, and you have businessman Adam Haber,
right?
But who's also on the board of
no one's challenging Wayne Wink, right? So he's got the. Does he have the nomination on the Democratic side?
Well, before I let Wayne speak, who's chomping at the bit,
he may not know. I'm asking you. You're the political guru.
Yeah, I'm the guru.
See, you're the local guru. I see how I'm asking you the questions.
Yeah,
because you know these little nuances on the local level.
Yeah,
I want to hear what you have to say.
There is somebody else running, and he. You know, he's in this race too. He's got. I mean, is Howard Weitzman, the former.
But who? I mean,
control.
I mean, that's that. I mean, can Howard Weitzman really run with Tom Swazi? That would be like that'd be like the movie Groundhog's Day.
Yeah,
when the clock keeps ringing every morning at 6 a.m.
It is. But that being said, we have Honorable Wayne Wink on the line with us. Wayne, how are you, sir?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hello, legislator Wayne Wink. How are you doing today?
Hello, David.
So before we get into the controller's race, what the heck are they doing with your? Not like it matters anymore because you're running for controller. But what have they done to your legislative district? They chopped it apart like. You wouldn't even be able to recognize it. What did they do to that?
You're not kidding. They actually took you and Brad out of my future legislative district. The whole concept here is that this is a redistricting process. Every decade, once in a decade, the county legislature is required to take a look at the population shifts within the county and reapportion how the population is divvied up among 19 legislative districts.
And is that what happened?
And, there are always shifts. More people move into certain neighborhoods, they move out of others, and so you have to do you have to review the census to determine whether or not reapportionment needs to take place. And then once a decade, you actually will reapportion all the people in the county. And this year there were some population spikes in one or two areas and some population drops in a couple others. So it should be a fairly simple process. Every district is supposed to have about 70,500 people in it based on the current census. It sounds like you would just tinker at the edges to reapportion the 19 districts to reflect population shifts. But unlike the rest of the decade, when the people get to pick their representatives, the reapportionment process and the redistricting process is the one time every decade when the representatives get to pick the people who they represent. And that's what's happened here. And we went through a long, fairly lengthy process of public input and map makers and demographers, and out of it came a new legislative district that I live in that has effectively divided up the community of Roslyn into 4 separate legislative districts. A community of about 30,000 people, which admittedly is made up of 4 villages and a large unincorporated area. But a community that is cohesive, that has a commonality to it, certainly has common interests, a common school district, library district, things like that. They've taken that community of Roslyn and divided it among 4 different legislative districts, so that instead of being about 40% of my current district, Roslyn itself will end up being about 10% of 4 different districts. So, David, you'll be in one legislative district that'll be represented by Judy Jacobs, hopefully come November.
She's got clout.
Brad, you'll be in a district that has no incumbent now. So if you're interested in running, by all means, Brad, I'll throw my support behind you.
So my district is more powerful than Brad's. That's what you're saying.
Unless I'm elected.
Yeah, I have Judy,
Exactly.
Judy Jacobs is, she's a powerhouse.
I'm still eyeing supervisor.
Yeah.
Right. The two of you, no, Judy Jacobs, not Judy Bosworth.
Judy Jacobs.
The two of you actually will be in
Dave still
district,
thinks
believe it or not.
that she's the speaker.
She's always the speaker in my mind.
Right.
For
There
whatever
you go,
reason.
exactly.
When you moved here, she was the
She
speaker.
was so in my head, she's always going to be the speaker.
It's
I
called presiding
understand.
officer, by the way.
all right,
I
wait,
understand.
wait,
But
let me ask you-
Ironically, since the three of us all live within a couple miles of each other in what would be considered North Shore, kind of central Nassau, maybe even slightly to the western side of the middle of Nassau. But ironically, the both of you would be in two separate legislative districts that would extend all the way to the Suffolk County border.
Oh, my God.
I love
That's
Suffolk
the
County.
redistricting. And then there's a fourth district that takes in the rest of Roslyn. So I live in one district. David, you live in a second. Brad, you're in a third. And then there's a fourth that would represent another part of Roslyn. And that's what the Republicans chose to do. And look, the fact of the matter is this is where party politics and government collide every 10 years in the redistricting process. And the fact of the matter is the Republicans have a 10-9 majority on the county legislature, so they got to control the process, and they made it such that Roslyn will now be an insignificant portion of 4 different legislative districts rather than being a significant portion of one district.
And of course, Mr. Wink, you
Yes.
Democrats would, if you were in the majority, you would never think to do such a thing to the other side, right? The Democrats never.
Well, let me put it to you this way, David. Let me put it to you this way.
Never happen.
Roslyn for 18 years was a core part of the 11th legislative district in whole. Roslyn remained whole when the Republicans drew the lines. It remained whole when the Democrats redrew the lines. So, to the extent that 18 years into this county legislative experiment that we have, they've now decided to break up Roslyn. It happened to be Republicans that did it.
And
you can do the math.
You're so right, because you know what? Every Roslyn resident wore that 11th legislative district with a badge of honor. They wore it on their T-shirts. They were proud of that 11th legislative district. It was on the top of their minds at all times. They were proud
in all modesty,
residents of the 11th
David,
residential
I'd like to
district.
think they were proud of their legislator in that time.
Yes, they sure were. And Wayne, you have served
And
with
their
such
temple
honor.
and their temple president.
But you have.
And their temple president.
I don't
of course.
care. I don't care where your constituents are. You have served them with honor and dignity. And let me just ask the next question. I know I've been doing a lot of talking, Brad, and I'll let you talk. But let me ask a really great question.
Sure.
I want you to dig deep into your heart, into your soul.
Okay.
I want you to dig really deep and get emotional. And I want you to tell the 50,000 people that are listening to this show right now, I want you to tell them, mostly Nassau residents, I want you to tell them with emotion and vigor why it is that you want a promotion.
Okay. Well, I didn't realize this was a Barbara Walters interview, so I'll try to hold back the tears. But I have spent the last 6 years representing the 11th District, and it has been really, really a joy, notwithstanding certain moments of real trial and tribulation in the county, and God knows there have been many. But in those 6 years, I've seen when Tom Suozzi and the Democrats ran Nassau County, how government operated, and I've seen the past 4 years how Ed Mangano and George Maragos and the Republicans have operated government.
Wait, I hate to
and
cut
I
you off.
know
I hate to cut
going
you off.
forward.
Tell everybody who George Maragos is, if they don't know.
George
already.
Maragos is
gonna
the
get emotional,
incumbent
so-
county controller. He's the gentleman that I'll be challenging in this year's election.
Got it. Sorry to cut you off.
What I have seen in the last 4 years, certainly, is that the county has gotten more broken and, quite frankly, more broke than ever. The fundamental problems in the county now are so large and so extensive that I looked at the realities of being a legislator and being one of 19, and for that matter, even being one of the minority members, and realized that if I want to enact significant and permanent reform to this county, to really get us back on firm fiscal footing, I can only do that by being elected to countywide office at this point. So that's why I've thrown my hat in the ring. All the talk about redistricting and whatnot, that that may have just firmed up my decision, but truthfully, I was prepared to make the step and run countywide, irrespective of what my district looked like, simply because I think now is the time, and the issues are just too extreme and too dire to just wait around for somebody else to try to come up with the solutions.
Hey, Wayne.
So I think the only way I can effectively do that is to run countywide, to become the next controller, to become a real fiscal watchdog, rather than the fiscal lapdog that George Maragos has been for Ed Mangano.
Well, that sounds good. So what do you think with the platform of controller? What do you think would be areas that you can impact and you can make a difference for Nassau County residents? There's a lot of things to run for. You could have run for county executive. You could, there are a lot of options. You could have run for, North Hempstead supervisor, for instance. What do you think? How do you think you can impact Nassau for the better at the controller position?
Well, the fact that Nassau County for the last several years has been really literally kicking the can down the road in terms of the fiscal issues that we need to address full on in this county. And, one of them being our over-reliance on borrowing for operating expenses, which the county continues to do at record levels. Those are the types of things, and that relates to so many issues, whether it be the attempt for the county to bond the rebuilding and redevelopment of the Coliseum, the attempt for the county to privatize and securitize the sewage treatment plants that we have in the county. There are so many areas, the tax cert problems that we have in this county. All of these things interrelate with the Comptroller's Office and the ability for the county to get on firm fiscal footing, be responsible for paying operating expenses with operating revenues rather than through bond revenues. Those are just the types of things that we have become addicted to in Nassau County. And if we're going to break ourselves of that, now is the time to do it, because it may be too late in 4 years.
So let's talk about the controller's job in general. I know you touched on it just now. So we have a friend, we have a mutual friend, Charlie Berman in the town of North Hempstead. He receives, his job is to receive the taxes.
Right.
And I always joke around on him that he's just a receiver. He doesn't really make decisions. He doesn't
That's right.
Now, with controller, you also receive the taxes, right? You receive them. Are you the guy that receives them?
Actually, what the controller is responsible for is the controller is a vital part of the auditing and as I say, the fiscal watchdog elements of the county, in that when the county has contracts, whether it be for goods and services or for programs, for with not-for-profits or whatnot, the county controller is responsible for making sure that what we contract for is what we get, and that we pay those contracts in a timely manner. And that's what the Comptroller's Office does. It doesn't make the payments, it doesn't collect the monies, but it oversees and monitors how the money is spent and whether we're getting what we're spending our money for in a proper manner. That's one big area of what they do. The audit function of the County Controller's Office is very significant. The other, one of the other elements that the County Controller is responsible for is what they call the Comprehensive Annual Financial Review of the county, or CAFR, as everybody likes to know it in the county. And the CAFR is the year-end number that tells us, did we end in surplus? Did we end in deficit? How did we get to the bottom line numbers for that fiscal year? And what does the current year and future years look like based upon that CAFR? That's really, it's about making sure that our money is spent wisely and making sure that we can allocate and determine where our money has to go and where it went in the last year.
And Wayne, just to wrap up, and do you think you will be good at this job?
I think my years of experience in the county, as well as my experience on the town board for 5 years before that, really prepared for this job, and I think I can do a very, very good job of helping the taxpayers understand where their money is going and what the implications of future priorities for the county will be, and what effect it will have on them.
Okay. Well, you certainly wouldn't have much of a learning curve, that's for sure.
So while you're talking,
we don't have time for a learning curve. I hate to tell you, we really don't in this county.
I'm thinking to myself right now that you've been a guest on this show many times. George Maragos has been a guest on this show.
Okay.
And Mangano has also been a guest on this show. So the only one out of the four that haven't come on the show is Swazi. So
what about Haber?
We have to get Swazi on this show, and Haber too.
Okay.
On the show. But
I am confident that if they listen to previous shows, everybody's going to want to be on this show.
Am I hearing correctly? Did you just challenge George Maragos to a debate at Temple Sinai in Roslyn?
I will appear wherever you ask me to, David. How about that?
All right. Well, I'll take that as a yes. So we'll get Maragos and we'll set this thing up.
That'll be pretty good.
That'd be great.
After Bill Clinton shows up, and then the next election from you guys.
Boy, that's not a tough act to follow, is it?
That would be terrific.
That's right. We have Bill Clinton coming to Temple Sinai on April 16th. That's going to be a great night. But certainly, now that you've said yes, and I believe that you did say yes, we are going to try to get Maragos, and maybe before the election, maybe sometime in late August, September, whatever, September, we'll get you guys debating at Temple Sinai. I think that would be great.
And then Haber and Swazi.
Yeah, we should do that too.
And then the winner of that.
Exactly. We'll be the debate temple.
Well, you know what? It's really not Maragos. He may have to debate Weitzman first.
He's not. There's no way Weitzman's going to run for this. We're not going to have a Groundhog Day in Nassau County. That's impossible. We need fresh blood. We need a fresh face, and that really is Wayne Wink. There's no question in my mind. So.
I agree. I just we'll see. Hopefully they water. Tim is having a nervous breakdown. That means our other caller is on the line.
Oh, okay. So, well, listen, I want to thank you guys very much. I'm glad I could help break the news here on Gotham Radio, and I look forward to talking to you guys again soon.
Look forward to it.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thanks a lot, guys.
See you back at the office.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.